Hey everyone. So, Formula One is back. A new year, a year with new regulations designed to bring the field closer together. And if pre-season testing was anything to go by, then I really think we're in for another exciting year of Formula One. And if last year was anything to go by, then I really think 2022 is going to be a very special year for Formula One. I'm really excited. I can't wait for lights out to go out in Bahrain and yeah, get this 2022 season started. So a lot to look forward to. Um, so yeah, I in terms of pre-season testing. So just coming on to talk about it before I go on to talk about other matters of interest. So when I look back at pre-season testing, obviously an opportunity for the teams to try out some new parts and also look at what the other competitors are doing. We saw Mercedes design caught the eye of just one or two teams, but then other teams brought other things as well, which caught other teams' eyes as well. Okay, Mercedes are saying, for example, or Lewis has come out and said that no, they don't expect to win races straight away. But if there's one team that can develop their car quickly and create a beast, it's Mercedes. So I would expect, I still expect them to be challenging. May not necessarily challenge for a race win on Bahrain, but I expect Mercedes to be right up there as you'd expect. This in 2022, they're 8 times world champions on the trot in constructors, and they're the world champions for a reason. Obviously, there's that intrigue between to see how George Russell gets on against Lewis Hamilton. The wily old Lewis Hamilton against a young charger that is George Russell. So and two Brits as well. So that can only be good for British sport, British motorsport. So very excited to see how George Russell gets on at at Mercedes. But I'm also going to, with this video as well, also going to talk about some of my predictions ahead of the, not just for the Bahrain Grand Prix, but for the season as well. So I will talk about some of my predictions as well. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So my first prediction for this year is that we will see at least 6 different teams win a Grand Prix this year. I know it's above half the number of teams in Formula One, but I think as I say, with all as I said earlier, with all the regulations, the new regulations coming in, designed to bunch up the field, um, I genuinely think that we'll see at least 6 teams win a Grand Prix this year. Obviously, you would expect Mercedes and Red Bull to win races. I can see Ferrari winning races this year. The preseason pace looks very impressive job that Ferrari did. Whether that translate into the season, we have to wait and see. But judging by preseason, you have to say Ferrari are one of the teams that definitely impressed. So I would expect Ferrari to win races. Um, then we also saw last season, we saw Daniel Ricciardo win in Monza, um, and yeah, we've seen the capabilities of other teams as well. I think Alpine looks strong in pre-season testing, so I would expect them to at least challenge for a win at some point this year. Um, but yeah, there are so many other teams as well. I mean, you look at Aston Martin, they will definitely be wanting to bounce back after what was, let's be honest, a disappointing year last year for them. But the signs coming out of Aston Martin suggest that they're on target. By I believe 2025, they're aiming to be world champions. So yeah, this will be an interesting year for Aston Martin. So as I say, if they can really improve on what they were able to achieve last year, um, and do it impressively, then I think Aston Martin, yeah, I could see them challenging for wins this year. But yeah, really intrigued to see what they can do. But as I say, I think 6 teams will at least win one race this year. So I will make a prediction in terms of those 6 teams. So obviously Mercedes and Red Bull, Ferrari. I'm going to go for Alpine to win a race, McLaren, and I'm going to go for Aston Martin as well to win a race. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if AlphaTauri were in contention for a race win, especially when you got someone like Pierre Gasly, who, let's be honest, has been one of the standout drivers in Formula One, at least for these last couple of seasons. We know what happened at Red Bull with Pierre, but I won't put it past Pierre to at least win a race this year. I'm saying six for the time being, but yeah, so I'm going to say six teams to win at least one Grand Prix of this year. So my second prediction is, I mean, I've just mentioned about some of the teams that I expect to win a Grand Prix this year. So one of the drivers I think will win a race, his first ever race in Formula One is Carlos Sainz. And not only that, I would make a prediction that Carlos Sainz will finish fourth in top four for drivers' standings. The way that Carlos was able to really settle into Ferrari pretty quickly last year really impressed me. Went on a long point scoring streak as well in 2021, and he was without doubt one of the standout drivers of last season, and I'm really impressed with the job that Carlos Sainz did. And I think ever since being at McLaren, I think since then he's season by season he's got stronger. He's become an even better driver, and I think he's got the better. If I'm being honest, I think he's got the better of Charles Leclerc. No denying the talent of Charles. And I would expect Charles to be in contention for race wins this year. If the preseason form of Ferrari is anything to go by. But yeah, I genuinely think that this is the year that we'll see Carlos Sainz win his first Grand Prix. And I'll also make another prediction in terms of first wins. I'm also going to go for Lando Norris for him to win his first ever Grand Prix in Formula One as well. He came so close in Russia last year, but it just wasn't meant to be at this time. But Lando's time will come, and I genuinely feel that this year he will win a race. Where that will be, I don't know. But one of my predictions is that Lando Norris and also Carlos Sainz will win their first ever Grand Prix in Formula One, and I think it'll also be a happy moment for Formula One as well. And I think every single person, if Carlos and Lando did win their first Grand Prix this year, I don't think you'd find anyone that would begrudge them. So yeah, that's another prediction that I'm going to make this year. The fact that Carlos Sainz and also Lando Norris will win their first ever Grand Prix in Formula One. So, my third prediction in terms of the dark horse of 2022, I'm going to go for Fernando Alonso as the driver to watch out for and being the dark horse of 2022. Obviously, we know that Fernando, so many years in Formula One, and then he had a pretty strong, you have to say, pretty strong second half to 2021. Started off the season slowly. No, wasn't quite getting to grips with the Alpine last year, but once he did, he was quite formidable. Okay, he wasn't in contention to win races, but he was certainly picking up strong results. And at Alpine, looking at their preseason testing form, some people are saying that Alpine are probably they'd rank them as the fourth best team going into Bahrain. But no, I'm really intrigued to see what Alpine and Fernando can do this year, and if Alpine can, if they can, start the season well, and then be able to build that consistency and take that throughout the whole of 2022, then I think we'll see a well, I think we'll see Fernando Alonso definitely challenging for podiums, and who knows, even challenging for race wins. We know the quality, we know how good Fernando Alonso is, and yeah, I think seeing Fernando back on that top step of the podium, I think also would be a great moment for Formula One as well. Obviously, Fernando now being one of I don't know if he's the oldest. I think he's the oldest driver now in Formula One. So yeah, as my dark horse for this year in terms of driver, Fernando Alonso, and I think he will surprise one or two people this year. As I mentioned, we know the quality that he possesses. We know what a good driver he is. And on his day, he's right up there. He's with the Lewis Hamiltons. He's with the Max Verstappens. Um, so yeah, I think, as I say, Fernando Alonso is my dark horse for 2022. And then one of the other predictions I'm going to make is one of the emerging stars, or I think one of the stars that I think will emerge as one of the brightest stars of 2022. I'm going to go for Mick Schumacher. I think, look, last year, I don't think we were able to see the many qualities of Mick Schumacher last season because the Haas didn't really develop the cars out as much as they would have liked to last year because they're putting all their attention on this year's car. But again, if pre-season testing is anything to go by, then Haas could definitely be in amongst the midfield. For me, it's not nice seeing teams really struggling. We saw that with Williams a couple of seasons ago, where they were right at the back of the field, and now, Williams are at least, whilst not challenging for, big wins or podiums, we saw at least Williams them scoring those points last year. Through both Nicholas Latifi and George Russell. So Williams are definitely making strides forwards and hope to see them continuing to make those strides. But as for Haas, yeah, I think Mick Schumacher will emerge as one of these stars. I still remember it was a race in Hungary, I think it was. Mick was running in the points at some stage during race at that race. And what we also got to see during that race is that Mick's not afraid to get his elbows out. So I want to see a lot more of that from Mick this year. And the form that has been showing in pre-season testing is quite promising. Yes, they did have their issues, but no, they weren't the only team that did have issues during preseason testing, and you're gonna get those gremlins. You're gonna have those issues. But has definitely showed promise, not just with Mick Schumacher, but also Kevin Magnussen. You know what? It's great to see Kevin back in Formula One, and I think having, I think Mick to have someone like Kevin Magnussen alongside him, K-Mag having that experience in Formula One already, I think that is a partnership that will work well. So as I say, great to see K-Mag back in Formula One, and we know on his day K-Mag's a very good driver. We've seen that in the past. We know what he's capable of. Does have his moments occasionally, where obviously he's had bit of grief from other drivers. Won't go into that, but as I say, I think the partnership with Magnussen and also Mick Schumacher, I think will work really well for Haas this year, and I think the team will benefit from that as well. No, it would have perhaps been a fairy tale if Roman Grosjean made his had been announced as a Haas driver. But as I say, take nothing away from the opportunity that Kevin has been given, and I'm sure he will take that opportunity with both hands for sure. But as I say, I think one of the emerging stars of 2022 will be Mick Schumacher, and I'm very excited to see what he can do in the Haas this year. Looking out to Bahrain this weekend, I think I think Red Bull you would expect to be right up there, and I would expect Max Verstappen to be challenging for that race win or to take a victory in Bahrain. But the beauty of sport is anything can happen, and this is the first race of the season. There will be unknowns going into the race in Bahrain, but also I think a lot of opportunities, a lot of excitement around Bahrain, season opener. Now we haven't had to wait too long for the season opening race. Bearing in mind that the final race of last year finished in December, so we haven't had too much of a wait. But even so, yeah, great to see Formula One back, and I'm very much looking forward to the weekend in Bahrain. So predictions time. Who am I gonna predict to finish in the top three in Bahrain? As I say, there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of things can change between now and going into going into free practice. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Max Verstappen win. I'm going to go for Carlos Sainz to finish second, and I'm going to go for Sergio Perez to finish third. So the top three of Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and Sergio Perez. Now, I've not included Mercedes in the top three, but I'm sure there'll definitely be points in the season where I will be predicting results where Mercedes do finish in the top three. So there will be predictions for sure. But I just think at the moment, I'd have to say Red Bull have got the advantage over Mercedes. But as I say, things can change pretty quickly. So as I say, top three prediction for me is Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and Sergio Perez. So that's the end of my preview. Looking ahead to and some of my predictions that I've predicted for 2022. If you want to send me your predictions for this year, you can send me them to. I'm on Instagram, manishpatel89, and I'm also on Twitter at Baggies20. Enjoy the Bahrain Grand Prix, all of you. Enjoy the new season, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. And yeah, enjoy the Formula One season, and hopefully, we're in for an absolutely barnstorming season of Formula One action. Take care, everyone.